This is Andi Purewal for ID Boxing. I'm joined by promoter Ben Shalom on the back of another successful night's boxing here in Manchester. Just starting off from the top, working our way down through the card. Tasha Jonas becoming a free belt title holder in the 154 division. Walk me through her fight against Mary-Eve Dicaire, please, Ben.
I thought Marie knew from the start that weight was her advantage. I thought Tasha dealt with it extremely well. She just gets better and better and better. So for her to be headlining tonight at the Manchester Arena and that full, I think there was over 8,000 in when she headlined tonight. That's incredible. But her performance was very, very good. I thought it was a close fight, but ultimately Tasha shows how talented she is because she's boxing fighters that are much bigger than her. And that was the number one in the division. This isn't gimme fights. I always believed Tasha Jonas was probably the most unfortunate fighter in British boxing. I really believe that, and she's that talented. She's not, things didn't always go away, but this year she's almost got it all at once. She's got the opportunity, she's taken them. She's fought real world champions. After for Patricia Bergold was a top performance in Liverpool, and then 10 weeks later to fight for another world title against the number one in the division. Yeah, what a special year for her. Fighter, got to go down maybe as fighter of the year, especially British fighter of the year.
Ben, what next for her? We saw Katie Taylor and Clarissa Shields mentioned. We saw Terry Harper's name thrown out there, but that was quickly kind of put down by Joe Gallagher. Can I just ask why that is?
I think there's a little something there. But I can understand why. I think Tasha's at the point now. She's achieved her dreams. She's got her world titles. She's got her everything. That was all that was left to take. So for now, it's just the biggest names. That's all. Tasha Jonas feels like a big name. She's headlining on Sky and doing big numbers. So she's a draw. And so for her at her stage, 1 or 2 fights left, it's just that's all Joe's interested in. And I don't blame him.
Dalton Smith, Casey Benjamin, a very competitive and almost kind of like a chess match at times in there between the pair of them. Not necessarily the fight which we expected, but what did you make of seeing Dalton in the flesh on a BOXXER show?
I actually really enjoyed that fight. I loved that type of fight. It was a chess match, both intelligent fighters. Casey Benjamin is miles better than British level. He's a proper fighter as well, and he took that fight without the experience, without the rounds, without the fights in the 12, 18 months leading up to it. So preparing for a test like Dalton, he still took it and looked really good, and I thought it was a very close fight. Dalton, we know, perhaps was slightly had an illness the week before, still took the fight, proper guy for doing that, but I thought it was good. It was a good performance. Not a brilliant performance, but it was a good performance. But we know how good Dalton Smith is. We don't need tonight to see that. And yeah, I thought it was a really good fight on a really good card.
So a few people suggest over social media, and granted Dalton was ill tonight, or sorry, not tonight, but last week. Would there be any interest in maybe giving Azim, Casey Benjamin, if he comes through Royal and Charlton successfully, just so you can kind of make that comparison to see how he gets on, and obviously compare it to Dalton's performance?
Look, it's something we'd look at, but Azim's had 5 or 6 fights. Yeah, he's 20 years old. I see Dalton as he's further on in his career. Azim is a freak, don't get me wrong. He could probably fight for a world title. I genuinely believe it next month. I genuinely believe that. But he's 20 years old, he's had 5 or 6 fights. He needs to develop, he needs to experience, he needs to get rounds, he needs to have fights. He's headlining his first show in 2 weeks' time. And so that fight won't be too soon, but it won't be far away.
Dalton's obviously now a free agent. Ben, when does the money making start kind of, well, when do you start money making, mate? So it's been a long night. When does kind of your play start to come out in trying to entice Dalton to the Sky and BOXXER brand on a more permanent note?
Look, I imagine he'll have some time off, and we'll see. And again, I'm just happy that the fighter is in control. He'll get his due. He'll get what he's worth, and he'll choose what's best for his career. I've said before where we think he can develop the most and develop his fan base, and that's what he needs, and fight regularly and become a star. And it's great because you've got the likes of Azim, you've got the likes of Ben Whittaker, Fraser Clarke, Caroline Dubois, so many others that are now starting their journeys and could become the future stars, and we need it. And I genuinely think they're there now. And Dalton is definitely on our wish list, but ultimately he'll make the right decision for him, and we'll see what happens.
Fraser Clarke getting some tough rounds under his belt against Clarke-Sokolowski. How pleased are you that Fraser's finally been able to get somebody durable in there with him and come through that test?
He needs rounds, and we said to Camille, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, prepare. We want rounds, 6 rounds we got. He's a tough guy, Camille. And look, that's Fraser's 4th professional fight. He gets a lot of scrutiny, but actually it's probably his 2nd professional fight, because look at 2 of his first 3 and how quickly they ended and what they were against. He's not had rounds. He's completely brand new. But that was a really good learning experience, and I'm glad that we got it under his belt, and we can move forward, and we can move to 8 rounds, and we can start looking further afield. But that was the perfect opponent for me, because Camille's a tough guy and he looked in great shape, and I thought Fraser did well, and I'm just looking forward to getting him out now regularly.
Tyler Denny beating Brad Ray, an impressive performance on Tyler's behalf. Just your thoughts on that one?
Great fight, great fight. Tyler's an intelligent fighter. Really enjoyed watching him against River Wilson Ben. It was almost a perfect warm-up for a Brad Ray. He's used to fighting that tall fighter. He did really well. Feel for Brad. Think he started slow and sort of was passive in most of the fight, and then came into it, and it was an absolute war in that. I think the 8th, 9th and 10th. Really, really good fight. Really good fight of the night. And but Brad will come again. He's only 24 years old, and we want to see. Look, what's the point? That's what fans want to see. They want to see good fights. They want to see fighters tested early, and fighters can always come again. And that's what the sport needs to realise. I saw Charlie Edwards' comment the other day around. All we hear is, where does he go from here if he loses, and what does he do if he this? So surely that's it. Let's get over that, because Casey Benjamin and Brad Ray will both have good careers after tonight.
Viddal Riley impressing with that 3rd round stoppage victory tonight. Ben, walk me through what you made of seeing him in the ring.
Superb, proper talent, goes under the radar in the boxing world. I think he's got great instincts. I think he's one of those fighters you love to watch. There's certain sportsmen, when they're so natural, that it's a joy to watch. I genuinely find it a joy to watch Viddal, especially when he's against a 6'5" guy trying to take his head off, that came to win, and actually had an amazing preparation, and everything went well for him. To take that in your 6th fight and dance like he did, and then catch him like that and knock him out. Special performance, special fighter. Really exciting for Viddal now, and he did that on a big stage.
Dylan Cheema falling short in his bout with Jordan Ellison. I imagine you're as disappointed as what he was, but how does that affect the plan with him moving forwards? Has he just tried to make the rematch as quickly as possible? He said to me he wants it over 6 rounds.
Look, I think when he won the tournament in a fantastic performance that night, I think we all remember how robust and fit and strong he was. But it's a different sport, and I think over 4 rounds against an experienced journeyman, really, it showed. And I hope he can go back and really work and find out what's going on and come back again, and believe he will. But it's obviously very disappointing for him, and it is a different sport, and boxing is a place where there's nowhere to hide. It's one of those sports. It's brutal, it's honest, and it gives you the answers in the ring, and that's how it is.
And final one, Ben, even though it wasn't your fight, Hatton-Barrera seen 2 ring legends return. Just your take on what we saw between the pair of them in there this evening to close the show.
I'm usually not a fan of exhibition boxing, but I think when it's done like that, and when it's inspirational, in the sense we've all been part of Ricky's career, we've all seen him fall off the rails since he retired, and then we see him come in like that, looking like he did when he was fighting. That's what it's about. It's great for the city, great for the sport, and Ricky Hatton's a legend, and he's still able to draw an audience tonight. Done it for the right reasons as well, raising a lot of awareness for mental health, and it's done big numbers on Sky because people love Ricky Hatton, and I think it was a pleasure for all involved to see him like that, and hopefully it inspires, yes, everyone, but also ex-fighters to stay in shape. We see so many not know what they do after, and I think he was doing it for that as much as anything.
Right, Ben, we'll leave it there now because I know it's been a long night. It's just gone 1 o'clock, so I'm going to leave you to shoot off. Thank you for speaking to me in Idea Boxing.
Thank you. Cheers, Andy.